Hey, what's going on, roleplayers? It's the Bard here. Welcome back to the corner. So I don't spend all my time making videos. I do like to have a little bit of fun in between, and right now I'm really enjoying my Mortal Kombat, and especially my Unbreakable Sub-Zero. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to build an Unbreakable Sub-Zero? So it really doesn't matter if you're not into console gaming, you can still have a lot of fun with this. Now, Monk can be a fun class to play, but I just don't find that it oozes with character the way some of the other classes do. I really enjoy classes like Fighter and Wizard, where you don't have set abilities along the way so much, but you have the feats, and the feats make the character. And pretty much every other character that has a very distinct set of abilities, like Barbarian, Paladin, Monk, you're just waiting for that next ability, and one monk is very much like another monk. I mean, considering the fact that the only thing that really differentiates them is their path abilities that they might take. But multi-classing can help alleviate that problem. I've always been a big fan of multi-classing, only because it helps you build the character you really want. So you want to go at least to level 5 for the extra attack and the stunning strike, but if you do decide to go to level 6 as a monk, you're going to get a 15-foot unarmored movement rather than 10. You're also going to get Kai empowered strikes, so you're going to be ignoring some of that resistance that creatures have unless they're struck with magical weapons, so that's really useful for the monk. Always has been, always will be. Monastic tradition feature you'll also get is going to be fairly useful for keeping your HP nice and high, because we're probably going to go with the way of the open hand. It might seem like it's a better idea to go with the way of the 4 elements, but I can't really see a lot of point in that if you're going to be taking wizard levels as well, which we'll get onto in a minute. Also, you're going to want to have at least one level of warlock, and this is going to come into play just because you want a couple of specific spells. After this, I'd probably suggest just capping off the rest of your levels as wizard. What's really going to make this build useful is the arcane ward ability, and that's going to be pretty much your bread and butter. Remember that you're a fighter that has a wizard's bag of tricks, not the other way around. You're going to be up front in the thick of it, so remember dexterity and wisdom are going to be your primary ones for keeping you alive. You want the best armor class you can get, you want to be making your actions as fast as possible, and you also want to have high damage for your attacks as well, so dexterity is your absolute tip top. Wisdom comes in at a close second because you're going to want very good key empowered strikes, and it also helps to add on to your armor as well. Constitution, as always, is your hit points, but you don't actually have to worry too much about this with this build. That will explain itself in a minute. You're going to have plenty of temporary hit points and ward hit points, which are going to keep you alive. So Constitution comes in as a secondary, but it is still an important score. Intelligence next, because you're going to have some spells, and you obviously want those to work well. So make sure that's nice and high. Again, it also adds to your arcane ward. Strength you don't really need because you can use dexterity in its place for your attack rolls and your damage rolls, so you don't really need strength. Charisma, it's okay, you're not really going to need it for anything. You're not going to be casting spells as a warlock, and you could probably take the warlock class feature that gives you some temporary hit points, but you're only going to get literally a couple of temporary hit points from the ability when it procs, but it's just there, you might as well take it, but it's not really what the build is about. As I was saying, I think we want to go with the way of the open hand, and the open hand techniques are really good. When you use those key points, you can get some really good effects. It's dexterity save versus prone, or you can choose from strength save versus 15-foot pushback. Both of those are really good, because what I think you want to be doing as any kind of character, you want to be adding as much as you can to the encounter. Therefore, if you can control the battlefield more, these are really going to work in your favor. Also, the fact that they can't take reactions until the end of their turn, that's also a nice ability. All these open hand techniques, as well as your stunning strike, gives you a lot of options in combat. Also, a level 6 monk gets wholeness of body, which is very, very good because you're able to heal yourself for 3 times your monk level. So that's 18 additional hit points if you're a level 6. Considering the fact you're also going to be working with a bunch of temporary hit points, an arcane ward that prevents damage, and maybe the odd spell or two that's able to give some resistance, then you're going to find that you're going to be pretty hard to take down. So you're going to get a whole bunch of cantrips. You're going to get a couple from being a first level warlock, and you're going to get a whole bunch of them from all your levels in wizard. But the only ones you really care about are Blade Ward and Ray of Frost. Just for the sheer fun of it, you could take Prestidigitation just for the snowy footprints or the ice shatters or the chilling effects, but it's really just for flavour. So Ray of Frost comes in really handy because you're going to need some form of ranged attack at some point. There's nothing more frustrating than being a character who's really melee based and you can't do anything because you've got something that's flying around or it's out of range or anything like that. So, keep something like Ray of Frost handy so that you can just keep firing them off. Also, Blade Ward's going to come in so important in this build, especially if you're forced onto the defensive. I mean, if you're going defensive anyway, then that's not so bad, but if you are forced into it, then Blade Ward is an absolute godsend. So some of your most important spells are going to include Mage Armor, Shield, and the reason that you took that one level in Warlock is going to be Armor of Agathys. So what these spells are doing is that they're keeping your bases covered. Now Mage Armor is going to be quite important if you have a very low Wisdom, because it's going to replace that unarmored defense that you have. Wizards of the Coast got wise to the stacking effect when it comes to armor, so it doesn't just add a +4 anymore or a +3 like it used to do. So instead, what this Mage Armor does is it changes your base armor to 13, and then you get your dexterity on top of it. So it's not the great benefit that it used to be, but it is still functional if your Wisdom is low. But what it also is it's an abjuration, and it will recharge your Arcane Ward if you need it to, even just by a few points. Shield is the same spell that it always was, which is really good because it's +5 bonus to your AC, especially against the triggering attack, and obviously you've got the magic missile deflection, which is what comes in really handy. But again, this is also an abjuration, so again it recharges your ward by a couple of points, and that's worth remembering. Armor of Agathys is an amazing substitute for Sub-Zero's Frozen Aura. Even the description is perfect. The protective force surrounds you, manifesting as a spectral frost that covers you and your gear. This is going to be one of your core spells that you're going to want to cast all the time. Because of the way that Pact Magic works, it allows you to put your Warlock spells into other spell slots. And what's also going to happen is you're going to be able to achieve much higher levels of spellcasting than you could ever achieve as a Warlock. I mean, Warlock spellcasting slots usually cap out at 5th, so that means 25 additional hit points and 25 damage. Going on with your Wizard levels, then you can go 30, 35, maybe even 40 if you're not overdoing your monk levels. Your Arcane Ward absorbs the damage for you, but your Blade Ward is what's giving you your resistance to damage. So as soon as the damage comes in, it's already going to be halved. So once it's halved, it then gets absorbed by the Blade Ward, and because Armor of Agathys procs on hit and not on damage, the effect is still going to fire off. So your Blade Ward is halving all your incoming damage, and your Arcane Ward is protecting your temporary hit points, which allows your Armor of Agathys to keep going and give you as much out of it as you possibly can. So when you're bombarded or swarmed by multiple weak attackers, one of the best things you can do is just armor up with Blade Ward to reduce that damage, let your Arcane Ward absorb the rest of it, and then really deal some massive damage with the retributive effect from Armor of Agathys. Of course, you're going to get on the physical offensive at some point, because you're going to have at least 2 attacks just from being a monk, and of course your key points allows you an additional 2 unarmed attacks, so that's 4 attacks. 4 attacks is quite a lot, especially when you're considering all the pluses you're going to get from your dexterity, but when you add Hex into the mix, it really does kick out an awful lot of damage. So with 2 attacks base and 2 attacks bonus from your key points, you're going to find that you're going to be kicking out a lot of damage if you add Hex on top of that, considering you're also getting all that ability score damage from your dexterity as well. So what we end up with is a really balanced character. We've got very strong single target, we've got some ranged attack to fall back on, we've got a really good defensive game, which a lot of people tend to neglect and is their downfall. And of course, as you progress in levels, you've got the wizards controlling effects, and you've got the brilliant AoEs, which really help to round out and allow you to cover pretty much all the combat bases. So obviously you're going to want to pick feats that are of value to you, and you're going to probably want something along the lines of Elemental Adept, because at the end of the day you are a elemental specialist, so cold is going to be the one that's going to give you the most mileage. The 2 damage effect isn't really of that much value, but the fact that you can ignore creatures' resistance, especially when you're doing stuff like 25, 30, 35 damage, with your Armor of Agathys, that is a lot of consistent damage, especially if you haven't got the worry of the creature resisting it. Warcaster is still an excellent choice because obviously you get a lot of different benefits from it, as well as the fact that you can use your reaction to cast a single target spell rather than taking the attack of opportunity, so there's always that benefit. And you guys have been watching me long enough to know that I absolutely adore the Sentinel feat, and especially for a defensive character like this one, it's going to be of so much value. Martial Adept is very good for abilities like parry, a high dexterity, and even a d6 roll can really help to deflect an awful lot of damage. As well as the fact, there's some other cool abilities like Riposte if you wanted the counter attack, or perhaps something like the Lunging Strike, which is pretty good if you wanted to use melee attacks but at a little bit longer range. As far as your other spells go, you might just want to make sure that you stock up on some decent abjurations in order to keep your ward up, and go for some interesting frost-based AoEs, just because you're going to be able to do consistent damage with them. Thanks guys for watching my Sub-Zero Unbreakable build. If you like this and want to see more of it, make sure you leave a comment and a like down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why not consider doing so. Anyway, that's enough of this for one day, and I will see you guys next time at the gaming table.